the next arc in Boruto. Now, I want to tell you guys, do not get your hopes up. This is going to be a very short arc, but it was confirmed to be the next arc of Boruto, and it should be a little bit interesting depending on what type of people that you guys are. Now, the next arc is going to be based off of a novel called the Naruto Shinden novel. Now, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys know what this novel is. A lot of you guys who basically don't necessarily love Boruto, but you guys do like the hardcore Naruto stuff. Well, not necessarily hardcore Naruto, but in terms of a plot or a novel revolving just around Naruto and Boruto, you guys are going to really love this arc. Now, to be honest, I do have to give a full disclosure. This should be, and I'm going to say should mainly because I haven't necessarily read the whole novel yet. This should be like a slice of life arc, but it is confirmed to be the next arc, so we do have a little bit of information. Now, the episodes of this arc should be episodes 93, 94, and 95. Now, I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm going to add the corrections in the video right here, but this is basically when we should get the novel adapted to the actual anime. Now, this is a very good thing in my opinion. First things first, we do understand that the novels and the manga, they're basically interchangeable. They're very close to each other. So in my opinion, I feel like if the novels are being adapted, I mean, the manga should be right around the corner. Now, I'm going to say should be mainly because I have no idea. I've been guessing what the writers of Boruto are going to do for a very long time, and I've been wrong a lot of times. I've been right a couple times, but a lot of times I've been wrong. But in my opinion, I feel like them adapting all the stuff that have been actually written down already, this right here could possibly mean that, hey, we're going to get some stuff from the manga very, very soon. Now, there's a couple of things that we do have to talk about before we actually do get to the things in the manga, and I do feel like these are going to be some of the arcs that we do get before we actually do get the Mujin Bandit arc. I'm pretty sure I pronounced that wrong, but that's basically the arc where we do get introduced to Boruto with the Karmasu and also the Kawaki arc later on right after that. Now, the first arc that I do have to talk about, and of course I do think it's going to be closer than the other arc that I do have to talk about, it's the Synthetic Tail Beast arc that should be coming up very soon. Now, I automatically thought as soon as I seen the opening that the Synthetic Tail Beast arc should be, and I was saying should be, in this arc right here, the supposed Hidden Stone Village arc, and it looks like I was very wrong. It turns out that this arc is just on the Hidden Stone Village and a bunch of synthetic human beings, which I was a little bit disappointed in, mainly because the tailed beast is like, it's a tailed beast. Like, let's be honest, everybody wants to see a tailed beast, and we've seen Boruto's Idojutsu, but not only that, we got to see Shinki. Everyone wants to see Shinki, right? So I thought that that arc would be very interesting. It looks like that's not going to be this arc, but I do feel like later on, after the Naruto Shinden novel does get adapted to the anime, we should be seeing that arc. Now, I know some people are under the assumption that the arc is probably never going to come, and I really don't see that happening. Of course, if they do put something in an opening or an ending, and 9 times out of 10 it's going to come. But of course, there is that 10% chance that, hey, this whole thing might just be clickbait, stealing the phrases from my man, the Eternal Hokage. By the way, if you haven't seen that video he posted, I highly recommend you guys go watch that entertaining video. But I did say I expected 2 arcs before we actually do get into the manga adaptation. Now, the second big arc that we all expect to see is obviously the Urashiki Otsutsuki arc. I know some of you guys probably even forgot about him, and I did talk about this in multiple videos in the past, and I think I made a dedicated video about this arc possibly being the next arc in Boruto, and of course this confirmed that it's not going to be the next arc, mainly because of the other 2 arcs that I did talk about earlier in this video. But that arc should be creeping up, and I'm gonna say I'm like 80% sure that Urashiki is going to garner an actual arc. Now, the thing about Boruto and the Boruto writers is the fact that I don't think that they exactly know what they're gonna do with Urashiki yet. I feel like they're in like this awkward stage where they want to make everything super creative, super interesting, super entertaining, but all they have is the roadmap. All they have is Boruto and Kawaki ended up fighting, and Kawaki telling Boruto like, hey, I'm gonna send you to meet the 7th. So in terms of everything in the middle of that, I still get the feeling that they're basically making stuff up as they go along. And they even talked about that in the panel that they had earlier, where Kodachi said like, hey, he gets some ideas from other people, and he'd say, hey, that's interesting, and I might incorporate that into the actual anime. So I feel like they're pretty much still thinking about what they're gonna do with Urashiki. But as I said, I am like 80% sure that we're probably gonna get a dedicated arc to Urashiki. But I will say this, the dedicated arc to Urashiki, I feel like it's a good possibility that Urashiki might not die in that dedicated arc. I feel like Urashiki is probably going to have a much bigger impact throughout the whole series. I'm not going to say Urashiki is going to be like an Orochimaru type of person, but I feel like he's going to have that type of impact in terms of entirety of the whole series. I feel like Urashiki is probably like one of those characters that's probably going to get us a lot of information about the Otsutsuki clan, and of course the Otsutsuki clan and Boruto specifically should be a big part of the whole entire plot. Of course, we do understand that the Kado organization is going to take make up a large portion of the Boruto plot, but I feel like the overall Boruto plot is not going to be solely centered around Kawaki and solely centered around the Kata organization. I'm part of the minority that feels like, hey, that's probably going to be like a huge part of it, but it's probably not going to be the whole thing. I feel like it's probably going to be like 50 to 60% of the whole thing, and I feel like the big boss is probably going to eventually be someone in the Otsutsuki clan. But I do want to know your guys' opinion about what you guys think the next couple of arcs are going to be. Now, if I just combine this whole video and I'll list you the arcs that I do think is going to be coming next and next, I feel like, of course, as I said, what's already confirmed is the Naruto Shinden novel is going to be adapted. After that, I think it's probably going to be the synthetic tail beast arc, where we do see Shinki and we do see that tail beast. Hopefully we do get to see Boruto summoning jutsu in that arc do a little bit of work, which is obviously Garaga. And after that, we should get to see the Urashiki arc, and then after that we should start to see some manga being adapted. Now, I do have to say, of course, I do expect Boruto to be putting a little bit of, I'd say, quote unquote filler arcs in between those arcs. And of course, I do hate the word filler, because a lot of people think that this arc right here that we are currently in, which is the Mitsuki retrieval arc, a lot of people think this is a filler arc. And I have to tell you guys, this is not a filler arc. I know a lot of you guys would love to think that this is a filler arc. No, this is definitely a real arc. It's going to have some ramifications for later on in Boruto. But I don't expect arcs like this to be in between the arcs that I did lay out in terms of the Naruto Shinden, the synthetic tail beast, and also the Urashiki arc. I feel like there should be like 2 or 3 episode arcs, mini arcs, a lot like the Naruto Shinden arc in between those arcs. And I feel like those right there should supplement the time in between the manga actually writing in some new chapters, because as you guys know, they did say that they didn't want the anime to basically pass the manga anytime soon. So we can't expect for those little filler arcs, quote unquote. But it's been your boy Baara B, and we out.
It's a knife.
Check my clock, I can't stop. Fuck around, make my 40 pop. No popcorn, I pop pistols. Reaming my body, clothing no issue. Bitch, you look sick, you need a tissue. You drop a body, I just might bless you. I'm metrosexual, no high cholesterol. Where's Jenny Craig? Bitch, just get sexual.